podcast is a production of Widener Law Commonwealth in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. For more information, visit commonwealthlaw.widener.edu/podcast. Now here's your host, Julie Massing.
Thanks to all of our listeners out there. Welcome to the Widener Law Commonwealth podcast. I'm here today with Mary Catherine Scott. She is the acting director of the Central Pennsylvania Law Clinics. So welcome today. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So can you just give me a little bit of history about the law clinic and maybe how it's tied to Widener Law Commonwealth, how it's tied to the law school?
Sure. We opened the clinic back when the university opened the law school out here in Harrisburg in 1991 fall semester. It satisfies the experiential learning portion of the clinic's, the curriculum of the law school. The clinic is meant to have a hands-on learning experience for our second and third year students before they get out to practice in the real world.
Okay. And do you find that there's a great need in the community for this? And also, what is the role of the students in the law clinic? How do they become involved with that?
Absolutely, there's a need in the community. In fact, we turn away more people than we would like to. We represent indigent clients, elderly people that need legal services and would have no other source of assistance in court, in administrative agencies without our help. And so, we're here to help as many people as we can based on our referral sources. And the role of the student is as a student attorney. They are admitted under the bar practice rules, and they act as the attorney for the client.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit about what you mean by bar practice rules? Because I know some people may have questions out there of how can a student attorney really help a client when they're still in the learning process themselves?
Sure. So we're set up as a small law firm, and the students are acting as the associates, but there are supervising attorneys that are sort of like the partners in a law firm, and they supervise all of the work that the students do. And under the Supreme Court rules, a student under that supervision of a practicing attorney can be certified and represent clients in certain areas of the law. The main areas that we represent as a general civil practice clinic fall under those rules.
Okay. And what are some of the specific practice areas? I know we say civil practice areas, but not everybody may understand what a civil lawsuit may be.
Sure. We do not practice anything criminal, so that to be distinguished from civil law. But at the clinic, we represent clients in domestic relations matters. That would be simple no-fault divorces, support matters, custody matters. We handle landlord-tenant, consumer law, bankruptcy. We also handle simple estates, those kinds of areas.
And about what is the caseload? About how many cases do you have open at any given time? And I would assume that there's more cases open during a semester when the students are more active than over maybe the summer period.
Certainly. At any given time, we have about 200 open cases. We're closing cases daily. We're opening cases daily. We have about 15 students on average at the clinic, and each student roughly gets anywhere between 5 to 15 at any given point in the semester to represent and to handle.
Okay. And so the student then is responsible from soup to nuts basically for this particular case underneath the supervision of the director.
Absolutely. They will interview the client. Well, first they will make the determination of whether we will take the case and if we will even interview the client. We'll represent the client after the interview, and that means the student will draft all legal documents, all pleadings. They write letters, correspondence to opposing counsel, to the court, and finally the representation will culminate usually in either representing in court at an administrative agency or the finality of drafting the documents.
Okay. And now students, do they typically only do this for one semester or 2 semesters? How many semesters are they eligible to work in the clinic?
Well, they have a maximum per Widener guidelines of 8 credits that they can take the clinic for. Okay. So if they want to split it up, they can. Most students will take it for dual semesters. The second semester being a clinic leader, they're more comfortable. They can act as a mentor for some of the new students and help them with their representation as well. Answer some questions that maybe if the supervisor isn't available, that they can guide them through the process.
Okay. So now, are there instances when those students may need to go to court for some of these cases?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
And I imagine that is a really great experience for students to help them understand as they're getting started in their career, what to expect.
Absolutely. I think that it's great, the doctrinal classes and what they teach, but to have the ability to be in court and to represent the client in front of a judge with the supervision of an attorney. We practice these cases. We make sure that we moot all cases before they're going before an agency or before a judge, so the student is as most comfortable as they can be, because it's a person's life that they have in their hands. It's a daunting experience. It's very scary for the students, but they are so rewarded not only from the experience that they gain, but the help that they give to some of these indigent and elderly clients in their representation.
Mm-hmm. I imagine that some of those cases are pretty life-changing for the students as they're working on those.
Oh yes. Okay. It's not uncommon for during the process for the student to get a huge hug from the client because they are so overwhelmed by the assistance that they've received. They would never have received it. And also just from the learning standpoint, drafting documents, the legal research, the experience that they get from that is quite astounding.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about your clientele. I know that you said the process is that they need to be referred. How does that process work, and what organizations do folks need to go through if they're looking for legal representation through the clinic?
Sure. At our clinic, we obtain referrals from Mid-Penn Legal Services, which is the legal services organization in Dauphin County, Cumberland County, and they would refer clients to us after they do an intake to make sure that they meet the eligibility guidelines based on their income. We also take referrals from the Dauphin County Agency on Aging as well, and the YWCA Domestic Violence Clinic. We've also been known to accept cold calls and referrals from judges and other administrators we know that there's a client that potentially would be in need. We would do the intake ourselves.
Okay. And we talked a little bit about the skills and about what year do students need to be eligible to participate. I would imagine this really isn't something that a first-year student would participate in, since they have to get a little bit of time under their belt here first.
Yes. Second and third year students are who usually takes the clinic, but they must have had professional responsibility and they must have had evidence because of the extensive court and administrative proceedings that we would potentially be representing. They need to be able to understand the rules of evidence, objections, hearsay, things like that, and also because of the ethical concerns with representing real world clients and real life people, professional responsibility is also a requirement to be in the clinic.
Okay. About how long does it take? Is every case different from open to close? And have there been cases of very long-term cases that you've been working on versus something that's a little more short-term versus maybe a no-fault divorce or something of that nature?
Sure. The ideal clinic case for a student to get the most out of the learning would be something that would take just a semester. That's where they get the most because they can open the case, interview the client, conduct all of the research, all of the writing, all of the drafting of documents, and then close the case in one semester. However, that sometimes is not the case because some cases drag on depending on the type of case it is. So there'll be multiple students that from one semester will carry over to another semester. But yes, you are correct. A simple no-fault divorce, an unemployment compensation hearing, certain wills and estate planning documents, powers of attorney would necessarily take place in one semester. However, other cases such as a landlord-tenant case might carry over. Some of your bankruptcies, if they're a little more complicated, certainly a guardianship, anything in orphans court, some of the adoptions that we've handled in the past, those kinds of cases would take longer than just a semester for a student.
Okay. Now, I know on campus we have a public interest law society. Have they worked in conjunction with the clinic on some certain things such as Wills for Heroes or anything like that?
We certainly have an overlap of students that would participate. The clinic and certainly our public interest law society, the interests are very deeply rooted in pro bono work and public service because the students recognize that after they do leave Widener Law School, they will be required to participate in some sort of pro bono, and we encourage the giving back to the community, whether it's this community or another community. So to participate in Wills for Heroes, the blood drives, Ask a Lawyer, things like that are happening in the community. Our clinic students participate. Public Interest Law Society, they work together. It's a great experience for all students here.
Okay. Now, how common is it to have a law clinic associated with a law school? Do all law schools have something like this, or is this a pretty unique situation that we have here in the cases that we serve within the community?
Most law schools will have, if not one clinic, several clinics, depending on the needs of the students, depending on the community that they're in. So yes, again, it's beneficial not only to the community where the law school is, but it's also beneficial for the students and the hands-on, real-world learning that they get from the clinic.
And I know that you probably can't get into deep details, but has there ever been a case that really affected you on a personal level where it just really made you think about things and about life, and you were just happy to be able to provide your service?
Absolutely. Every case is different, but the family law cases really touch not only myself but all of the students that handle those. It's one thing to be helping somebody with, getting their job or certain benefits, but when you are able to assist them with family law matters, keeping their children, getting their grandchildren, working out, support payments and those kinds of cases, adoptions, guardianships, where, in a family law situation, the emotions are running really high, and if you're able to help them and assist in any way, those are the cases that you take home.
Okay. Now, I do have one last fun question for you, and that is, who is your legal mentor?
Wow, that's easy. Right out of law school, I was a judicial clerk for now President Judge Richard Lewis, also an adjunct professor here, former district attorney of Dauphin County, and judge in Dauphin County, and just a wonderful, wonderful man, super, super bright. But the thing that I carry with me from my time with him is his patience and his just his guidance. He is not only my mentor, but a mentor for so many that have been his clerks, have been his district attorneys, and have just been in his courtroom. He's just a wonderful, wonderful mentor in the legal community.
Great. Any final words of wisdom for students who may be looking to either come to Widener, or ones that are maybe on the fence about participating in the clinic? Any advice for them as they kind of move forward?
Sure. Well, I'm a Widener grad, and I think it's the best decision I've ever made because of the community. Harrisburg's a great place to go to law school. The state capital is here. There's many opportunities in government. There's many opportunities in big business when they graduate. But more importantly, the faculty is outstanding, always available for the students. With regard to the clinic, certainly, if not required, it should be something that all students really consider taking. It offers students an opportunity to participate in something that not only helps the community, but gives them a leg up on their resume. Potential employers really see that they participated in a clinic, and the hands-on experience is very beneficial when they get out into the workforce.
Thanks so much for joining us today. This was Mary Catherine Scott. She is our Acting Director of Central Pennsylvania Law Clinics. Thanks so much for joining us, and
Thanks.
Have a great day.
Thanks again, Julie. I appreciate it.
Widener University Commonwealth Law School is the Pennsylvania capital's only law school, with 3 specialized centers of legal scholarship through its Law and Government Institute, Environmental Law and Sustainability Center, and Business Advising Program. Widener Law Commonwealth offers an exceptional learning experience that is personal, practical, and professional. Visit commonwealthlaw.widener.edu for more information.